Okay, so let's talk about my final project. I'm gonna get this going in the meantime and we will talk about it. Here's some proof that is in fact running and it does compile. So, let's talk about Pokemon. Pokemon is a video game that I happen to really like, and I decided to see if I could find a combination of Pokemon that will maybe beat the champion team. Now, I didn't want to have it solving the same problem over and over and over again because that's not AI. That is just general optimization. I wanted it to kind of always produce something new and unique and maybe try different things, give me a good idea of where to start with this meta. Pokemon is in fact a very stats-based game. So I went over to look at the past 2 years of the video game Masters Division, and I noticed something. It's fairly stale. There's maybe 50 unique Pokemon amongst all 2 years top 8 data. So I went over to Smogon, which runs something similar, but they have their own rule set, and I pulled some of the champions from some of the best Pokemon from here. That definitely helped. I now have a database of about 60 as opposed to 50. So every time my program runs, it generates a randomized champion team, and it generates a given population of randomized teams. A Pokemon team is comprised of 6 unique Pokemon. They cannot have the same species name. And I run them through kind of a I run each team through a fitness calculation based on the damage done in a specific. I base it on the damage done over damage done plus damage taken, kind of as a KDR. Let's see if I can find that real quick for you. Okay, it's not there. This is the problem with large code bases, yes to all. Yep, right here. So we have, it's the sum of damage taken, of the entire team, damage taken, damage dealt, and we're gonna, if damage dealt plus damage taken is 0, we're just gonna return 0 because you can't divide anything by 0 and it's gonna bomb out, and that also means it's not a very fit team if it took a lot, if it didn't do anything, pretty much. Now, here's the thing, if you look at it, that's how we're going to calculate fitness. Each team is made via a stat range, which which has generously been provided for me here on Bulbapedia, and I did this for about 150 Pokemon. So it's going to pull this, and this is all going to be pulled from an SQLite 3 database. And I also have implemented type effectiveness, which was a very interesting thing for me. And type effectiveness in Pokemon is how much damage you will do based on a certain element. I have used the damage calculation straight from the game, with the exception of I did not include same a type tack bonus. This is where it would get a little bit crazy and a little bit overpowered. And yeah, while it's in the game, you sometimes use in the actual playing the game itself, you'll sometimes find yourself using non-same attack type moves. I also felt that this might throw off the fitness calculation quite a bit. I might redo this and actually include that and see how it changes things. But given the time constraint, this was probably the best I could do. So here we have the seed file for the SQL database. Don't worry, you're not going to have to do anything specific. I've already set this up in such a way that it's just going to ship, it's going to install the third-party packages you need, and it's just going to run. Here's the huge type effectiveness stuff. Let's go up to the top. Here is the Pokemon Factories table. Here is the type table in case you're really curious what each individual number responds to. Here is type effectiveness, and each Pokemon actually carries around its table with it. And here is part of the Pokemon Factories database. It is absolutely huge in the fact that I had to sit here and input all of these myself. Now, did this finish running? This did in fact finish running. Everything is output to a log file. Not everything, but you'll see the champion team and the champion team and the best possible solution it came up with to beat this. Every time it does it, it's actually a completely unique Pokemon team, which is really cool. And it will, if you were to use this to kind of metagame here, it would give you a very good jumping off point, a very good starting place to kind of break into competitive Pokemon. If there's a Friday Night Magic kind of thing for it, you would actually might be able to do very well. Because it really comes down to pure stats and being able to read your opponent. This ignores the human aspect and just does the pure stat game. Let's see. Here's where it pulls the direct damage calculation straight from the game is in get damage. It interacts with the database. This was a very interesting project, and let's go look at what it came up with as soon as I find it. AI final.txt. Let's scroll down. Okay, let's see. This is the champion team. We have Entei, Tyranitar, Greninja, and the best possible team that I came up with is here. If you run this a few times, and it does take quite a while to run, you'll actually see that every single time it outputs something completely different, which is really cool. This team actually had a 0.76-ish fitness, which means it did really, really well, and it has a very high chance of actually beating the champion team. So this again would be a very good jumping off point for really breaking into the game. And again, I wanted to do something that was a little bit less of a toy problem and more of an actual application for my final project. Thank you so much for listening. I hope I didn't ramble too much. Have a great day. Oh, it's still recording.